Good morning to all of you. I hope my slides are visible to you. Slides are visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the studies class, we have started unit third, and that was the first class in unit third. So we went through the first topic, that is called time response, and maybe time response of continuous data system. So the definition, we went through the time response. So that is basically the response of a system for an applied execution is called time response. Okay, that can be represented by C of t. Okay, so applied input can be any signal, like a standard signal. We compare with the standard signal and we do the mathematical analogy with the or mathematical derivation by having the standard signal. Although there are many signals, okay, that may be practical system having different types of signal. We compare that signal with the standard signal. In standard signal, we have impulse signal, step signal, and that ramp and parabolic signal. So we compare with these, and we try to find using that the time response, okay, using that input as a standard signal. So we went through the two responses, like transient response and steady state response. So transient response is nothing but basically the time response, the part of the time response that goes to zero, time becomes very large. So if you see at time t equal to infinity, your C of t. So if the time response C of t at t tends to infinity, the part of that C of t, not all C of t, you can say part of C of t. Okay, and maybe all C of t also. So if that time, that C of t response or time response will be zero at very large value of t, or t tending to infinity, so that is called a time response. Okay, that is called transient response. Okay, so transient response basically stands for 0 to settling time. Okay, from time starting from 0 to the settling time, up to the settling time. Okay, and after the settling time, it will be the steady state response. So that means our response will come into the steady state. Okay, and ts depends on the error, how much error you accept. So suppose you accept 2% error, 3% error, 4% error, 5% error, and that depends on the error, how much percentage you want, or your system allow how much percentage of the error. So depends on that, ts value basically changes. Okay, and we will see also how ts can be found out, that is called settling time. So there is some formula to find out. So we'll go through this, and for the different errors, we also see how much t is required. Now, from the transient response, we can know different things. So these are the things we have discussed in very detail in the yesterday's class. So you can go through this. Okay, so these are the time response. Okay, okay, so from the time response we can find these things. Okay, similarly for the steady state response, you can find these things. You can find these things for from the steady state response. And a steady state response, basically you can say the time at which the transient response died out, where a steady state starts. Okay, so a steady state only will be there, and that is a part of response. Okay, so total response will be steady state response plus the transient response. Now a standard signal, we can see a standard signal, basically different types of input we have, and that input can be comparable with the standard signal, and we try to apply the standard signal. So why we required the standard signal? So for example, we have different signals, like a plane, okay, a radar tracks an enemy plane. Okay, the nature of enemy plane variation is random, and that is a random variation. Okay, so that is varying very randomly. So that random variation you cannot take directly. Okay, so you cannot take directly. You should have some assumption or mathematical representation for a particular system. So you should take some system, and that will be varying randomly. And you take just example of that. and just put the inform the standard signal. So terrain curves on road and are random for a driver is in an automobile. So there is also a terrain and that basically ends on a road or curve of a road, and that is also random for a driver. Okay, so you can see this type of signal basically a sudden change in a terrain. You are moving your automobile or you are moving your vehicle, or driver is moving a vehicle in a terrain, and suddenly a road come and a curve on a road comes. Okay, so a curve comes, so you have a sudden change. Okay, so just changing your path from maybe in a straight direction to the maybe curve. Okay, so a sudden change will occur. So like this, you can have a standard test signal, and based on that the standard test signal, we can simply represent a sudden change, a momentary shock, a constant velocity, and constant acceleration. And these are the signal can be represented by a step impulse, ramp, and parabolic. Okay, so we have seen the standard test signal, and these are the standard test signal. Already you know all these things, the Laplace of these already you know. So just check this. Okay, and we have also seen the poles and zero of a transfer function. So already we know we have a transfer function. If we equate the numerator with the zero, we'll get zeros of the, and we equate with the zero, and we try to find the roots of the that numerator that is equal to zero, and that root will give you the zeros of the transfer function. Similarly, if you want to find poles of the transfer functions, you just equate zero to the denominator, equate with the zero, and you just try to find the s value, and that s value is called the zeros of the, sorry, poles of the polynomial, and that can be represented in a gs plane, or you can say s g omega, sigma g omega plane, and g omega will be the y-axis and sigma will be the x-axis, and based on that sigma g omega value we just represent on a pole that sigma g omega axis. Now or pole zero plot we can say. Okay, so characteristic equation, we have characteristic equation in the form of s to the power n. See, in the characteristic equation we should also always have s to the power n. Okay, always have the coefficient of s to the power n should be 1. Okay, coefficient should be 1 always. If you have a function, suppose a transfer function which is given as s plus 2 divided by 2s square plus 3s plus 1. Okay, so to have the characteristic equation you should just take s plus 2 divided by, just take 2 outside, so write down s square plus 3 by 2s, okay, plus 1 by 2. Otherwise if you equate with a 0, other already this term will go. Okay, so if you equate this with the 0, this with the 0, so already you can write s square plus 3 by 2s plus 1 by 2, which is equal to 0, so you can take. Okay, so similarly we represent this as a s to the power n plus a n minus 1 s to the power n minus 1. Similarly dot like this. Okay, so this 1. Okay, although you are equating with a 0, characteristic equation can be equated with 0, so we can find that is a qfs is equal to 0. Okay, so you can find the s value, and that s value will give you the poles of the poles of the transfer function. So we have taken one example for this particular problem, and the problem which is given as a transfer function is given, and we need to find poles and zeros, and we need to draw the pole zero plot. Okay, and then a characteristic equation can be found out. So this is the problem which is given, and pole we have found out this one, and we have plotted pole zero, plotted on the pole zero plot, and we have went through the characteristic equation. So this is the characteristic equation after multiplication of all the value, the characteristic equation we got. Okay, so I hope the last previous class. Okay, 1 minute. Huh? Okay, so I hope there's no issue with the previous class or last class. Let me start with the second lecture. Okay, so okay, 1 minute. I hope slides are visible now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So in the lecture 2 we can see okay, so we will see different problems based on that. The previous class we have done some type of problem, so that type of problem we will try to do, and we will try to take some problem like this should be the fraction of this should be maybe we can find s is equal to minus a, sorry, minus b, okay, plus minus b square minus 4ac by 2a, okay. So from this we can find the s value. Okay, if the fraction is not directly happen, then we can find the s value from this. Okay, and we'll try to plot. So we will go very quick. Already you know all these things. So poles can be found out by equating this with the zero. So we just equated with the 0, s into s plus 4, s square plus 6s plus 25. So we got s is equal to 0, one pole, and s equal to minus 4, one pole, and we try to find using this. Okay, and similarly zeros will be s plus 2 is equal to 0, so the s equal to minus 2 is a zeros. So already we got one pole is this one and one pole is this one, and another two poles can be found out from this equation. So we found out from this equation this cannot be directly done, so we just have a roots from this formula. So we just find out minus 3 plus minus j4 plus j4 and minus 3 minus j4. So these are the poles we have. Okay, similarly we can find the zeros, and zeros can be s equal to minus 2. So we should plot in a pole zero plot. So pole zero plot we can have this. So this is the pole, this is the 0, and this is basically we have minus 4, and this is minus 2. Okay, and what we have minus 3 plus minus j4. So minus 3 is somewhere here. We should take minus 3 plus j4, minus 3 minus j4. Okay, so this is nothing but j4. Okay, and this is nothing but you can say s is equal to 0, s equal to minus 2, and this point you can say s is equal to minus 3, and this is basically s equal to minus 4, and this is minus j4. So this is nothing but a pole zero plot. You can directly have a pole zero plot, and you can find very easily. Now the fourth one was characteristic equation. So we should know the this is the problem which is given here, and the pole zero plot which is given here. So you can easily see pole zeros is represented by this kind of representation 0, and pole is represented by this cross kind of thing. Okay, now the characteristic equation we have, just multiply all these and to find the characteristic equation. So that will be the characteristic equation. Okay, you can have this characteristic equation. Okay, after multiplication of all these which is present in the denominator and equate with the 0. Now the third problem we have, so this one. So you can see, and we'll try to do the analysis of first order system. So basically this is the second topic which is given here. So second, or you can say third topic. First of all, we have seen the time response. Okay, and time response, then we have seen the standard test signal, and after that we have seen some few examples of pole zero plot and pole zero of the transfer function, and then we are seeing the analysis of first order transfer function or first order system for a step input. Okay, input is also given a step input. Okay, so now you can see here, here it is given as the block diagram, and for this block diagram we just try to find c by r. Okay, so c by r transfer function. So you just have gfs is given as 1 by tfs, and hfs is nothing but 1. So try to find out divided by c of c by r is equal to g divided by 1 plus gs. Already we know for the negative feedback system. So we just take g divided by 1 plus gs, where g is equal to this one, where g is equal to this one, and h is equal to this one. Okay, so we just try to find, and we got the c by r is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus ts. Okay, so far so good. That is a transfer function 1 divided by 1 plus ts, where t is some value, t is some time constant which is given here, or some constant which is given here. Okay, so किसका बार बार नॉइज आ रहा है? म्यूट करो. रोल नंबर 100 100. Roll number 100, 100. Roll number 100. Okay. Okay, see, we have seen this transfer, this block diagram, and we have found out the C by R transfer function. Already we know all these things. So we have now the problem which is given here, and that is we are doing the analysis for first order system. So first order, why first order? See, GFS is basically given as 1 by TS, and that is nothing but S to the power 1. So that is why it is a first order, and you can see the transfer function also. Transfer function is of the first order. So the first order transfer function. So that's why we are doing the analysis of first order system. So system is basically the overall transfer function is a power of 1. So overall transfer function is 1, and we are taking the input as a step input. So we just take a step input. A step input already we know we are taking the unit step. So R of t is equal to U of t. And if we take a step input only, so that should be R u of t, or maybe some constant k u of t. Okay, so we take just unit step. Okay, for unit step input, so R of t is equal to u of t, that is nothing but t greater than 0, and 0 for t less than 0. So if we take RFS is Laplace transform, so Laplace transform u of t is nothing but 1 by s. Okay, so that is nothing but 1 by s, it is not R, 1 by s. Now if we take C by R, so C by R is already we have 1 by 1 plus Ts, and if we take C, so that will become 1 by 1 plus Ts into R. So that can be written as 1 divided by S into 1 plus Ts. Can we write this? Is it okay for you? Just we have substituted R value, RFS as a 1 by S. So if we take, if we write, we can take, okay. So we can take this one as a 1 by, okay. So can we take S and T outside? Can we take? So we take this T in the numerator, and we can write S plus 1 by T. Can we write? Is it okay? Is it okay for you? We have taken just T as a common. So T will be coming into the numerator, and this will become S into S plus 1 by T. Okay, good. So try to just take this one. S is a having one as a coefficient. Okay, S is having 1 as a coefficient. So try to take this one. Okay, so always it is in a standard form, 1 by S plus A, the inverse Laplace. If we take this is in a standard form. So that's why we are taking this. Okay, so try to take in a standard form. So now if you see in the next slide also it is written. So necessarily I'm writing. So see, it is written as C of S is equal to 1 divided by A by S, and B divided by S plus 1 by T. Okay, so just again you just write this 1 by T. Okay, 1 by T divided by S into S plus 1 by T. That's why it's written. Okay. Now, if we take the partial fraction, that will become a by s and plus b by s plus 1 by t. Try to do and find out a and b, whatever whatever you have knowledge, you just try to find. Okay, otherwise you can go through my solution, and you can find, and I'll try to do in a very quick go. So just take just see the numerator by comparing these two equations. So this term and this term. So what is the in the numerator? We have numerator. We have 1 by t here. This side, and in this we can say if you take LCM, you should have a into s plus 1 by t and plus bs. Okay, that is good in the numerator, and denominator already we have these two same terms, so we just cancelled out. Now put s is equal to 0. If you put in the above equation s is equal to 0, what will happen? This term will be 0, and you will get 1 by t is equal to a into 1 by t. So you can say directly write a is equal to 1. Okay, and for finding b, if you put s is equal to minus 1 by t, then what will happen? This will become 0. So this overall term will become 0, and this will become minus b by t, which is equal to 1 by t. So b can be written as minus 1. So this is my direct observation, and I'm writing using this. Similarly, this is also one of the method which is given here, and this method says a for finding a, just take the denominator value of a and multiply it with the c of s. Just take the denominator value and just multiply it with the c of s, okay, and try to find try to find the value, okay, try to find the value, okay. 1 minute, it is it correct? C of s as a is equal to 0. Okay. That's good. So CFS is equal to S is at as S is equal to 0. So you can say, so if you put S is equal to 0, this will become overall term will be 0. But no, if you take this S and just take CFS, CFS is what? CFS is we have 1 by T, okay, divided by S into S plus 1 by T. I just substitute as a s is equal to 0. So this term get cancelled. So we'll get this term is also 0. So we'll get 1 by t divided by 1 by t, which is equal to 1. B, for finding b, you just take the denominator value of b and multiply it with the c of s and just substitute s as s is equal to minus 1 by t. Whatever the denominator, just equate with the 0 and find out the what is the value. So s is equal to minus 1 by t, or poles of that one, okay. So s is equal to minus 1 by t. So if you substitute s equal to minus 1 by t, this term will be 0, but no, this term will be cancelled out with the cfs denominator. So just substitute and try to find out. Otherwise you can go through this method also, okay. Both are the same thing, okay. So whatever you have knowledge, you just go through this, okay. I don't think it is very tough to give a focus on that, okay. Already you know these things. So if you substitute a and b value, you will get CFS is equal to 1 by s minus 1 by s plus 1 by t. And now if you take Laplace inverse of this one, so this 1 by s will become okay. So CFS Laplace inverse will become CFT. That is called, that is nothing but a time response, or you can say the analysis of first order. This is the first order differential equation you are getting, okay. So this is the analysis of first order differential equation, and you can see that this is the output response, and this is the time response of first order system. So time response of first order system says, if you want to find CFT, just take Laplace inverse of CFS, and this will become Laplace inverse of both the term. So Laplace inverse of 1 by s minus Laplace inverse of 1 divided by s plus 1 by t. So this will give you 1 by s is nothing but 1. That is nothing but u of t, of course. You should multiply with the u of t, of course. You should multiply with the u of t, okay. So u of t is very understood. Already we have input. See, we are not writing u of t because already we have seen, we have taken the problem. Excuse. In the problem itself, it says we are applying RF a step input, and a step input says we have RF t is equal to u of t, which is nothing but 1 for t greater than 0 and 0 for t less than 0. So we are applying only for t greater than 0, that is nothing but 1. So just multiply with 1. So we are just considering t greater than 0, and t less than 0 already we have 0. So we do not consider these things for t less than 0. So you can take, if you want, you can just multiply with the u of t. Otherwise it is very understood to take this, okay. So but you should write this u of t, okay. So what is 1 by s? 1 by s is nothing but u of t. We have u of t we have taken common. And what is Laplace inverse of 1 divided by s plus 1 by t? So that is nothing but e to the power minus 1 by t into t. Okay, or you know 1 by s plus a is nothing but Laplace inverse is nothing but e to the power minus at. So that's why it is written as e to the power minus 1 by t into t. That is u of t. So that is the first order response of a system, or time response of first order system. Now we will try to take this equation C of t, and we try to substitute different value of t. That is, we just substitute as a small t is equal to first time constant, okay, or a small t is equal to, we take 0 also. So small t is equal to 0 second. What will happen? 0 second means, 0 second means what will happen? This will 0 ka matlab, this will be 1. This e to the power 0 means what will happen? 1. 1 minus 1 is what? 0. So that means at t is equal to 0, your C of t will be what will happen? There is no response at all. Response will be 0. And you are seeing that you are applying at unit step input. So unit step input matlab t is equal to 0, you are applying. So basically at time t is equal to 0, your CFT is nothing but 0, and you will be also somewhere confused that sir, If you see in very strict manner, u of t is at time t is equal to 0, it is basically, if you see strict manner, it is not defined. It is basically sudden change, or we take 50% of that, 1 by 2. If you see the definition, some of the book also says it is t greater than equal to 0. But for time being, just just time being, you take u of t as u of t is equal to 1 for t is equal to 0. Okay, for time being, just take. So u of t is equal to 1 for t equal to 0. So for time t is equal to 0 seconds, u of t is equal to 0. So output response is 0. Now, if we apply t is equal to capital T second, okay, T second running one time constant. So if you take 1 minus e to the power minus t by t, so it will become e to the power minus 1, it will get minus 1. E to the power minus 1 is nothing but you substitute e to the power minus 1 and try to find using the calculator, or you will get 1 minus c of t is equal to 1 minus 1 by e. Okay, and try to find e is equal to already we know 2.36 value. So try to find from this, and you will get around 63%. Yes, so 63.2%. So 63 0.632. And that means you are getting the response as a 63.2% of u of t. Any, you can see this figure. So you are getting at time t, capital T, you are getting capital T, you are getting 63%. You are getting 63% of the step input. Okay, 100% is this one, 100% is this one. You are getting 63% of a step input. Now, if you take 2t, you substitute, we have c of t is equal to 1 minus e to the power minus t by t, okay, u of t. So if you substitute t value, or t value as 2t, so you'll get 0.86 and 86%. If you take 3t, what you will get? 95%. That means error is how much? Error is equal to, here error is 5%. Okay, now if you get 40, how much error you are getting? Error is equal to 2%, approximately 2%. Now error is equal to, for 5t, error is equal to 1%. And for 60, it will become CFT almost 100%, not 100%, almost 100%. Okay, sorry, it is taken as infinity. It is taken as infinity, it is a 100%. Okay, 100% output, then error is equal to 0. So, but practically you can say, is it possible to apply the time as a infinite time? No, we should not apply infinite time. So that means there will be some error always. Okay, so infinite is nothing but an ideal case. We are not using the ideal case always. See, the practical cases, infinite is not possible. So that means you always get some error that is like 0.001%, sometime 0.002%, 0.5%, 0.1%, 0.2%. You can get any percentage. But from now, you try to remember, for 3t, you will get error as a 5%. For 4t, error will be 2%. You will be asked directly how much error you expect and how much response will be there. Okay, so for 5t it will be 1%, or maybe 0.993, okay, or 99.3% of the output you're getting, or error will be approximately less than 1%. So we always take the settling time according to this. And see, in this a system which is giving you an idea of error, how much error is allowed. So suppose a system which is giving you a 5% error is allowed for the particular system. Okay, so you can take how much time constant? 3t time constant. If a system is providing you 5% error is acceptable for a particular system, you can take the time constant as a 3t. Sorry, time constant, not settling time, is equal to 3t. That is nothing but a settling time. Okay, okay, if the system is giving you 2% error, so you can take settling time as a 40. Okay, is it correct? I hope so. So from now, you just remember these things: 5%, 2%, 1% error, and you should remember these things. Okay, so here the time constant. Okay, the value of c of t is equal to 1 only at t equal to infinity, only at t equal to infinity. Okay, so at time t is equal to infinity, the cft will be 1 and the error will be 0%. Now, practically the value of the C of t is within 5% of final value at t is equal to 3t. Okay, so that will be within 5%, within 5%, and within 2% it will be t equal to 4t. So in practice, we take 3t or 4t may be taken as a steady state. Now we have already seen in a studies class that will be the settling time, that will be the settling time Ts. Up to the settling time, that will be transient response, and after the settling time, that will be the steady state response. So that's why it is uh, given that in practice t is equal to 3t or t is equal to 4t may be taken as a steady state. So that may be taken as a steady state, maybe that may be taken as a steady state starting the time of the steady state here. That means you achieve the steady state. Okay, your system achieve the steady state. Okay, and error will be a steady state error, and that error will be 5%, 2%, 3%, or maybe 4%. Okay, whatever the percentage is required. Suppose, see, a problem may be given to you, and that problem says, see, the response which is given here, CFT is equal to 1 minus, what is that? E to the power minus t by t. Okay, that is u of t. So a problem which is says error is equal to 3%. Okay, error is equal to 3%. Then find t value. Then what you will do? What you will do? Anyone? Please see. C of t is 3%. Okay. Now, okay, it's good. Can we take split these two terms and we can write 1 or u of t minus c of t, which is equal to e to the power minus t by t. Can we write into u of t, of course? Can we write u of t minus c of t, and this term will become this side? So e to the power minus t by t, which is equal to, okay? Is it good? What is error? Error is 3%. So error is 3% means what? U of t. Matlab, we have a desired u of t and the output c of t. So difference between these, not c of t minus u of t, u of t minus c of t. Okay. So u of t minus c of t is nothing but 3% error. That means this would be 0.03. 0.03, that is in percentage, so we take in a decimal value, so that will become 0.03, which is equal to e to the power minus t by t, and u of t is of course 1. So try to find okay, the final value. Okay, so see here. Okay, so here you will say, sir, t cannot be find out, okay, directly, that is in terms of second. So t can be found out using in terms of capital T. Can we find out? Yes, we can find. Take logarithmic both side or ln to both side. So we can take ln to both side. So this will become ln 0.03, which is equal to minus t by t. That will be ln e. So ln e will become 1, and that can be written as ln e, which is equal to 1. Okay, and that power of e will become this side. So we can write capital small t is equal to, what will happen? Small t is equal to minus t into ln 0.03. That is the answer in terms of capital T. See, the problem, if t is given, you just substitute capital T value. Or capital T is nothing but time constant. If the time constant is given, you just substitute the time constant. Try to find this in a second. I hope it is correct. You will be able to find out the time required for the to attain the 3% error for a particular system, or in terms of capital T. If the T is not given, you can represent in terms of T. Okay, so time constant basically give you how quickly the value reaches a steady state is a function of time constant. Okay, so basically Ts, this is nothing but Ts. This is nothing but Ts in terms of capital T. So how quickly the value reaches a steady state, or the response reaches to a steady state, is a function of time constant. So that will be a function of time constant. Okay. Hence the smaller t indicates quicker response. See, a smaller will be t, the response will be quicker. Obviously, t is nothing but a time required of the system to see how we can define the time constant. Time constant we can define, you can define the time required for a system
to attain the 63.2% of the output value. Oh, sorry, to 2% of the desired value. Time required for a particular system to attain 63.2% of the desired output or 63.2% of the desired value. Okay, so that is the time constant. So if the time constant is less, that means your response will be quicker. See, you can substitute in this equation and try to check whether this is valid or not. So you can say g of t is equal to 1 minus e to the minus t by t. See, if your t is small, if your t is small, then what will happen? Overall term will be high. See, e to the power minus something will be high, and e to the power minus something will be high means what will happen? E to the power minus 1 will be high means what? E to the power minus 1, e to the power minus something will be high, then what will happen? This term will be, overall term will be less because minus is there na, so this overall will be less. And if overall will be less, that means you are subtracting from u of t, that means you are subtracting from the desired 1 minus something. So if t is lesser or lesser, your c of t will be more and more. Okay, so that means you are achieving the response as fast as possible. Okay, so now we are moving to the another topic that is called damping. Okay, so what is damping here? And we slowly move to the second order system. Okay, first order system we already seen. What is first order system and how we can find out what is the analogy between first order system, that is the time constant analogy we have seen. Now we see the damping and damping factor. So what is damping? See, each and every system has a tendency to oppose the oscillatory behavior of the system, which is known as damping. So oscillatory behavior will be there in the system, and every system is having a tendency to oppose that. And if they oppose the oscillatory behavior, that is nothing but a damping. Okay, and damping of any system, by it is measured by a factor, or you can say ratio, which is known as damping ratio, and that is represented by zeta. That is the zeta, you can say zeta. Okay, that is nothing but a zeta. Okay, okay, that is nothing but a zeta, you can say this is zeta, and this zeta will be the damping factor, and that is ranging from 0 to 1. We will see in detail that is ranging from 0 to 1, then what will happen. Okay, that is ranging from 0 to 1, then what will happen. If zeta is equal to 0, then what will happen. If zeta is greater than 1, then what will happen. Okay, so we see all these zeta variation also, and we'll see in detail when we study the second order system. So to move into the second order system, or maybe just explaining the second order system, this terminology will come into the picture. So for the time being, just see that zeta is nothing but a damping factor, and which is basically used to measure the factor, used to measure the damping ratio. Okay, a damping is nothing but it is a tendency to oppose the oscillatory behavior of the system. Okay, so now, so we do the analysis for second order system, and if we do the order, if we do the analysis for second order system, see in the second order system, what is the order here? What is the order here of the system? Highest power, or you can say the transfer function also. Power, highest power. So just multiply these two. Highest power will be 2. So that is the second order system. Here also, if you multiply these two, what will happen? Power 2. So this is nothing but a second order system. So this is second order system. We take the step input and just we try to check the analysis for step input, that is for the second order system. So we have a standard second order system where it is written as g of s is equal to omega n square divided by s into s plus 2 zeta omega n. Okay, so it is a standard, you just take for time being, you just take this one. We will see the significance also, why this only taken, why not 1 divided by s into s plus t. We will take also, but we can represent in a standard form, where omega n is equal to natural frequency. Omega n is nothing but natural frequency, and zeta is equal to damping ratio or damping factor. And HFS is, of course, it is taken as a unit step. So if we try to find C by R, we just substitute this G of S into G of S into HFS, and we check this. We got omega n square divided by S square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. This is a standard second order system, or you can say a standard transfer function for second order system. You just remember this one. Not remember, you will understood, and you will be understood कि यही होता ही है सेकंड ऑर्डर सिस्टम के लिए फॉर स्टैंडर्ड. अभी प्रैक्टिस करते करते आपको आ जाएगा ये. तो this C by R is nothing but omega n square divided by S square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. Now where zeta is equal to damping ratio and omega n is equal to natural frequency. Now if you try to find S value, then what will happen? S is nothing but the roots of the characteristic equation. So here the poles or roots of the characteristic equation is nothing but the closed loop pole or poles of the transfer function. So we just equate with the zero. We just equate with the zero, and we try to find out what is the S value. Okay. So again we take minus b plus minus root under b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So we got that S is nothing but minus zeta omega n plus minus, okay, plus minus omega n root under zeta square minus 1. So this can be represented as minus zeta omega n plus minus omega d. Omega d is nothing but damping frequency. Omega d is nothing but damping frequency, which is called, this is an assumption, omega d is equal to omega n zeta square minus 1. Okay, ठीक है. So this S is equal to minus zeta omega n plus minus root under omega n square, sorry, omega n square root zeta square minus 1. If this zeta is greater than 1, then this equation is okay for us. If zeta is greater than 1, then this equation is good. Or you can say equal to 1 also, this is good, no issues. But if zeta is less than 1, then what will happen? If zeta is less than 1, then what will happen? We cannot use this one. You just take 1 minus zeta square and just take j outside here. Okay, just take here. So I'll go in detail here. See, real and unequal. So zeta square minus 1. Okay, so what will happen? We have only this term will be changed. Zeta, see, minus zeta omega n is fixed for everyone. So all the term, omega n is all the term. So zeta square minus 1 will be zeta square minus 1. So if this square root term will be greater than 0, then that means zeta is greater than 1. So they lie on the real axis and that is distinct. So real axis or distinct means what? In the previous equation we can see this will become the positive terminology. Sorry, this two term, one is minus zeta omega n plus omega n root under zeta square minus 1, and the second term will be, second root will be minus zeta omega n minus root under minus omega n root under zeta square minus 1 if omega is greater than equal to 1, then, or omega greater than 1. So this term will be real and distinct, not imaginary, real and distinct if zeta square is greater than 1 or zeta square minus 1 greater than 1. Now if this is equal to 0, then zeta equal to 1, and that will be repeated root. See, in the previous one, if equal to 1, then what will happen? Equal to 1, that will what will happen? This will become 0, and we'll get minus zeta omega and minus zeta omega, the two roots. These are the two root only, and that will be repeated. So these two root will be repeated, and their roots will be, so here the roots will be what? Here the roots will be minus zeta omega n plus, okay, plus omega n zeta square minus 1, and another root, or maybe you can say s1 is equal to this one, and again the second root s2 is equal to minus zeta omega n minus omega n root under zeta square minus 1. And whatever this one s1 comma s2 will be what? Minus zeta omega n only. The two roots will be this one. Now, if less than 0, then what will happen? So this will be, that means zeta is less than 1, and poles will be, poles are in the second and third quadrant. So what is mean by second and third quadrant? Second and third quadrant will be, that means will be, this will be here. That will be some imaginary term will be there. So we can write S1 comma S1, okay, which is equal to minus zeta omega n. 1 will be plus j omega n root under 1 minus zeta square. We have just taken subtracted. Minus sign मैंने बाहर ले लिया, so that will be plus sign j here. And another S2 will be minus zeta omega n minus j omega n, okay, root under 1 minus zeta square. So this is the term which we get. So these two root and these two root will be this one. And if for this one, that will be a distinct pole. So that will be here or maybe here. And that will be presented at this point. Okay, the two roots. So, okay. So I hope this is correct. We will start from in the next class. We will try to start from this point, and we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. So till now, any doubt? Please let me know. Please let me know any doubt, if any doubt. Any doubt? No.